All right, everyone, Tuesday morning briefing from the Celtic Way. How are we all? We're building ahead to the start of our UEFA Champions League campaign. Tomorrow night, guys, not long to go now. It's a big game. Champions League actually starts tonight. There's a few interesting games in there. I think Young Boys are playing Aston Villa, Tony, which is two of the teams we're going to face. So that might be a good one for people to watch. But it's all about tomorrow night, and we're gradually getting there.
Yeah, you can hear that theme tune in the back of your head, can't you? You're just all about to just start giving it the champions, big finish, big crescendo. It's there's something about that music, isn't there? It's always gives you a different feel as a supporter. And as much as Celtic's record hasn't been the best, it's just a wonderful tournament to be involved in. You always feel very privileged and proud of your club when they get there, and you're just hoping, amongst hope, that this is the year that Brendan Rodgers and the men get it right and they do make that impact that we all crave at this elite club level. Just claim a few scalps and give us some of those nights that we've had in the past that are legendary and unsurpassed. Kevin's been a lot more of them than you and I, Hamish, no doubt. But it does, the hairs in the back of the neck go up, don't they? It's a wonderful amphitheatre, and you just look at tomorrow night and you cannot wait, because it's a tie that you believe doable, and it's just a case of going and doing it.
They've slightly changed the anthem this year, guys. I don't know if you're aware of that, but if you're able to listen to it tomorrow night, just it's subtle difference, but you might be able to pick it up. But it's all set up for tomorrow night, Kevin. Tony makes a good point. You know, it's a big game, but I think we all feel it's a winnable game for Celtic as well.
Yeah, I was at our first ever Champions League game, which was in Turin in 2001. And we played very, very well. We're beaten 3-2 with an extremely debatable penalty near the end. And that first Champions League campaign was, again, we acquitted ourselves great. We won. We get 9 points, which most of the time, 9 points would get you easily into the second round. We missed out principally because probably our worst performance, it was against Rosenborg away from home. But I was just thinking back, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but we've never won the opening game in a Champions League, of any Champions League campaign. We were beaten 3-2 by Juventus. Then the following season, I think we were beaten by Bayern Munich away, beaten by Manchester United away, drawing with the likes of Aalborg at home, drawing with Benfica at home, being hammered by Paris Saint-Germain. So I think this gives us, and I'm not underestimating Slovan Bratislava by any means. They've had a decent start to the season. They're a major, they're a big evocative name in Europe. They'll fancy their chances against us, but we've got a real chance to basically put 3 points in on the first date in the Champions League, which would be such a massive, would give us such a massive injection of confidence. And I think there were signs last season of us just beginning to get our act together at this level. Some of the football we played against Lazio and Atletico Madrid, we were very, very unlucky, I thought, in Rotterdam against Feyenoord. And we played really well to beat Feyenoord 2-1 at Parkhead. Their manager, as can be seen, was extremely highly regarded, and he's become the manager of Liverpool now. So yeah, this is massive tomorrow, and I think we can fancy ourselves to take 3 points.
He's put the fear into me, Tony, saying that we've never won our opening Champions League match. I hadn't considered that, but it's right enough. I mean, Henrik McLaren pointed out possibly, and he has put the word easier in quotation marks here, but have we had an easier first game? I mean, Aalborg at this level is the only one that I think is comparable over the last 15 years or so.
Yeah, we should have beaten Aalborg. We really should have.
But there's a lesson for tomorrow.
Yeah.
But again, I just see that kind of attitude, and I don't mean you, Henrik McLaren, you can have your thoughts. There are no easy games at this level. You are at this level for a reason. They're the Slovak champions. Regardless of what you think about Slovak football, I don't imagine all of our knowledge is pretty great, but we'll have brushed up on it recently because you've drawn Slovan Bratislava, and that's the opening game. There are no easy games at this level. They will, as Kevin said, every one of the teams like Celtic will want to make an impact. They'll fancy their chances as well. And what Celtic will have to do, going back to that first campaign, and we've spoken about it before, they have to win their home games to give themselves any kind of chance. And if they do have a 100% record in the home games, then you'll advance. But the first one is crucial. The one tomorrow night is massive. And you want to see that they've learnt the lessons from playing against Feyenoord and winning that game, and it transitions into this competition. It's the new look Champions League phase, as they call it. Go and show that you've learned. Go and put that knowledge to the test, and go and show everybody that you are a good team. You deserve to be there. But I think underestimating Slovan Bratislava at your peril. You've got a couple of guys there who've done a number on Celtic before with Artmedia Bratislava. Vladimir Weiss is kicking on in terms of his years, but he's still a wily old pro. There's experience there, and his dad has plotted the downfall of Celtic before. So I get it. It's about what Celtic do, and there is every chance to get themselves off to a flyer. But we have to be respectful of the team that's coming as well. We respect them, but not respect them too much. But go and do a job. Go and do the job that you started well to do in the domestic scene, and see if you can take that into the European forum. But it's just huge. It's crucial. And yep, as Kevin mentioned, those records are made to be broken about the first Champions League game or whatever. So listen, you could slant any statistic in history the way you want it. It's tomorrow your chance to create a wee bit of new history as well. So we shall see, shan't we?
Yeah, I think it's all right to give Bratislava a lot of respect. I mean, they've come through 4 qualifying rounds, guys, which is the mark of a really kind of a good, solid team. They didn't beat any huge teams in that run, but they beat 4 different champions of their countries, including the Danish champions in the final round. I mean, we've struggled against them not so long ago. So they're clearly going to be a side I don't think are going to be overawed when they come to Celtic Park. They've got a lot of experience in their team. But I think equally it's all right to look at it and say, this could have been a European giant coming to Celtic Park tomorrow. And we may not, I mean, if we were playing Man City or Real Madrid tomorrow night, we'd probably be sitting here going, a point would be an incredible result. So I think it's all right to look at it and say it's a huge opportunity, but also, this is a good team, Kevin. They're the champions of their country. And as I say, they've come through 8 qualifying matches to be here.
Yeah, that says a lot about resilience to me. But also it means that they'll have played quite a lot more games at this stage of the season than we have. So they'll be very settled. I know they were beaten 5-0 at home, weren't they, a couple of weeks ago, and there was a bit of a fans demonstration. But that seems to have been a bit of a blip. I mean, personally, I'm delighted to see a club like Slovan Bratislava at this stage as well. Czechoslovakian football in the 60s and 70s was a real powerhouse, and then of course in the post-Soviet era there was the kind of breakups of the old Iron Curtain states, and also their top players are preyed upon as ours are by the kind of bigger leagues. But we they've got their own European history. They won I think they won the European Cup Winners' Cup in '69, beating Barcelona. And of course, our double header with them in '64 was probably the first sign that Celtic were the coming force in European football. Then we beat them home and away. I think I mentioned in this podcast a few weeks ago that Rangers had given us a guard of honour immediately after we'd beaten Slovan in Bratislava, and we were playing Rangers in the Cup, I think, a few days later, 60 years ago, and they applauded us on at the park. So they're one of those evocative big teams who have a kind of, they occupy a part in Celtic's early European history. They've got a great fan base. It's an amazing city, Bratislava, and even after the breakup, Slovakian football and the achievements of the Slovakian international team, they punch well above their weight.
They do, yeah, they do. I mean, they've done far more than Scotland in recent times. Having said that, I think they are the first Slovakian team in 14 years to play in the UEFA Champions League proper. So that's going to be interesting as well. The other point I was going to make, Tony, if you look at, and people won't have done this because they won't really care about Slovan Bratislava's fixtures, but if you look at their 8 fixtures that they've got, I think they've got Manchester City, Bayern Munich, AC Milan, Atletico Madrid, Stuttgart, Girona, and then they've got Dinamo Zagreb and ourselves. For them, Wednesday night is one of their more winnable games. So as much as we're looking at it going, oh, this is a game, we really have to go and win, they're going to be eyeing up us, given our recent record. And that's what makes me think they might come and actually take the game to us. They might look at this as an opportunity, one of their few opportunities to win a game.
I think every team that's like Celtic will fancy their chances against teams of what they would class as a similar ilk. And we get back to I hate using the word fortress, but Celtic Park has to become a place that's feared again, not the tourist attraction that it's been for players in the box ticker to give you plaudits and say the atmosphere's great when they've walked off with 3 points. No, we really have to start nailing this down and using the home advantage. You have to say, and Chelsea supporters probably not like me saying this, but Rangers have used Ibrox that way in their European excursions over the past few years. It's been pivotal towards their European success, and it was part of Celtic's stick when Martin O'Neill was there and when Strachan was there and when Neil Lennon got the incredible result against Barcelona. So I have to start getting back to those days. But yeah, Slovan will feel just as confident as Celtic are going into this one. I would have thought. I don't pay much attention to the fact that they lost 5-0 the other week. It was always that great Kevin will know, the tabloids used to do the airport runs, didn't they? Kevin, and you would ask whoever was playing, say they were from Croatia, and you'd say, can you win at Parkhead? And they would say, yeah. It's usually cocky Croats last night flew in and said, they're going to play that kind of stuff, wasn't it? They probably weren't cocky at all. They were just asked a question. And it's just so I tried everything to kind of put them off their stride and say, this is what they're saying about Celtic, Rangers, insert team here when you did the airport run. And so, So I think they'll be targeting this game. You're right, Hamish, but again, it's up to Celtic just to slam the door shut on any of their hopes and dreams of getting their campaign off to a flyer. That's why it's really huge for Celtic, because it could set the tone for the rest of that league phase, couldn't it? And it could just put you in such a cracking frame of mind and confidence going into the others.
Yeah, it's just such a huge opportunity for 3 points right at the start of the campaign. I reckon we need 10 points from our 8 matches to be guaranteed a top 24 spot. What an opportunity to maybe only need 7 from your final 7 games if we can win on Wednesday. Right, Gordon, I think this is the first time I'm actually excited about a Champions League campaign. Really think we will make a dent this year. I'm noticing real excitement, guys, even more so than normal. I don't know if it's the fact that Celtic are playing so well at the moment, or the new format, or the fact we've got a decent enough draw. Maybe a combination of all three, Kevin. But people seem to be, and I think we all feel the same, quite excited about this.
I think a big part of the excitement is that it's not just that we've got a slightly more favourable draw than we've had before at this stage. I think with that new format, normally you're looking at this time last year and the year before, we're looking at fixtures against 3 teams. Now we're looking at fixtures against 8 different teams.
Yeah, it's good.
And it's it's the broad spectrum, and 3 of those fixtures are against clubs who've never played before. Because I always I always get a little bit deflated when there's another draw and there isn't a new club that you haven't been drawn against before. But over the last,
who are the 3, Kevin? Young boys.
Atalanta, Aston Villa, and
Young boys.
No. We played at Bruges.
Bruges, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
We've only ever played 2 Belgian teams.
Anderlecht.
No, 3. Anderlecht, Ghent, and Ekeren, who are an Antwerp team. We played Young Boys in a dreadful double-header in 1994. We scraped past them 1-0 at home after a 0-0 draw in Switzerland.
I was in Switzerland for a 0-0 draw. Dreadful match.
But yeah, so I love that. I love the fact that you're looking down when that's it. We've got 8 games against 8 different clubs between now and Christmas, and normally it would just be 3. And it's the whole spectrum, from Borussia Dortmund to Young Boys, Zagreb, a good English team, which again is winnable. We've got a good record against English teams. I mean, believe it or not, we have come out more. We've come out and top more often against English teams than they have against us. Ever since we played Liverpool in 1966. So we don't need to fear anything. I mean, obviously the hardest game will be Borussia Dortmund. Leipzig will be good. We've had some great tussles against Zagreb over the years. And Atalanta are, I think that's such a eye-catching fixture. They're Italian. I love playing against Italian teams because they're just Hollywood, isn't it? Yeah. And of course, they're the reigning Europa Cup winners, which they won in outstanding fashion against Leverkusen.
Yeah. I'm just so, when you talk about all that, I'm so excited for this tournament. The fact there's an extra 2 games this time, and as you say, Kim, we've got 8 different opponents. It's going to stretch all the way to the end of January. It's properly exciting.
This is the one you have to win, though, isn't it? And I think there's and there's not so much excitement as well. Allied to that, so there's an expectation because you feel you now have a calibre of player that can carry you forward in this tournament.
And also a good draw.
Yeah, correct, Hamish. Yeah, you look at that opening game and that opening opponent doesn't strike fear into you. Man City and Real Madrid struck fear into you. There was bravado and you thought, we could maybe get a point, but you were terrified of getting into face them. You were like, they're going to do a number on us, that kind of thing. You look at Slovan Bratislava and you think, let's do a number on them if we can. We feel we've got a squad now. The manager got that quality in. This is the competition where he wants to make his mark. He's made no secret of that. It's time for Celtic to go and make their mark at this level. It's been too long that they've not. And I think that anticipation and excitement, and I want an expectancy. I want Celtic supporters to expect. I want to expect that we go in and, give a good account of ourselves. I'm fed up, and I think the majority of Celtic supporters are fed up getting in and underachieving and underperforming at this level. There's a battered image here. There's some battered pride needing restored. Brendan Rodgers feels he's the manager to do that, and he feels that this is the team and squad that can do that. He mentioned pre-season again the other day, but they did play really well and they've carried that on, and they played really well against the likes of Man City and Chelsea. And I know it's pre-season, but what Celtic are putting into practice in those games was stuff they're going to take into games like tomorrow night, and that's where you're going to see the improvement, the progress and the development. But that's what you want, and you want these, whatever 11 he picks, you want them to be bang at it from the start, because fine well the support will be bang at it from the start, and that has to lift you and puff your chest out, as I always say. You belong in this arena. Go and show why you belong in this arena. You're a good team. Go and show everybody that you are a good team and you can cope with the demands and rigours of playing at this level, and you can transition from domestic football into the European arena and still get results.
Yeah, and it's a great first fixture for all of that. As everyone keeps saying, take nothing for granted. This is going to be a tough match tomorrow, tougher than any domestic match we'll get this season, I'm convinced. But there's an opportunity for the team at Celtic Park, pot 4 team, to go out and show that we are, as you say, Tony, that we can now play at this level and flourish at this level. And really, honestly, if we go out and win this match on Wednesday, wait till you see the reaction from the support and everything. It will just go into, this frenzy. It'll be brilliant. A few comments, Jim. Please don't start giving goal predictions. Ryan's not on today, is he? So we're probably all right in that regard. Charlie asking if there's any pre-match nerves yet. I don't actually have nerves yet for this. It's more excitement than nerves. What about you guys?
No, I'm the same. I've been keeping an eye on the socials the last couple of days, and I see that there seems to be a bit of a debate. I don't know if it's just been self-generated about whether Hatate starts, and it's just it kind of puzzles me. Hatate is our most naturally gifted midfielder. He really is. And if we're going to get results at this level, we need him. Hatate showed in that first 50-55 minutes against Real Madrid that he belongs at this level, and he has that skill set, and he's got the speed of thought to execute the skill. And I just wonder if I don't know, if there's a tendency to kind of judge him more harshly whenever we don't think that he has.
But we need him to be disciplined, Kevin.
What's that?
We need him to be disciplined, though.
Yeah.
He has a tendency to give the ball away, and I think that's what the manager sees. I'm not disputing it that this guy is naturally gifted and he's a talent. That's not in question. What is in question is the manager saying to him, you can't give the ball away cheaply, and your form dipping just before a game like this, and his form has dipped. People can say what they like. He's been the third best midfielder in the last 2 games out of the 3 midfielders that have started. That's a fact. And I just think that the manager's seeing these things and thinking, I need all hands to the pump tomorrow night. I think there's a moment in the documentary Inside the Huddle. I think it's before the Scottish Cup final, and he tells the players 100%. I can't have 98%. That'll not be good enough for today. And I've got a feeling that's what he sees in the Hatate at times. It's not going to be good enough for tomorrow night. And I think that's why the debate's been generated. Now, whether he plays or not, I won't be perturbed or annoyed. I just feel that he might turn round and say to Enkles, Bernardo and McGregor, this is your night to shine. and I'm giving me the rationale why Hatate won't play in my team. We spoke about it yesterday, didn't we, Hamish? Hamish is still part of the Hatate trainee, wants him to play. And I've no qualms about Hatate playing at all. But we need Hatate to be focused, no falling out with himself, not getting annoyed, and not giving the ball away. So, and because he's a remarkably gifted footballer, but he needs to stick to the game plan that the manager wants.
And I know what you're saying, and I do agree with a lot of that. I just think at this level, Celtic have had so few players who can actually, of the skill set that can unlock a defence. And, we'll see what Engels brings. We saw a glimpse of it on Saturday and it looked good. It's great to be talking about three from a midfield of those three plus McGregor. I just think that Hatate has got that X factor that can basically prise open a defence in an instant. But I agree, something. He has kind of driven me nuts as well. And in reverse, I know you're saying that you're not going to lose any sleep, if he plays. And I in reverse, if he chooses Engels and Bernardo, bother. Bernardo can probably count himself unlucky not to have played at the weekend, given that he played so well against Rangers the previous week. But this is a Champions League choice that we've got. This is the first time I think we're going into a campaign where we've got an abundance of riches, when previously we've looked a little bit threadbare.
Yeah, I've said my piece on Hatate. I just think he has that ability to take the ball under pressure, and do something with it. I'm well aware that he gives the ball away, and listen, the stuff in our kind of defensive third, he absolutely can't afford to do that. I've got less of an issue with him doing it in our attacking third because he's trying things, but I just think on that Champions League stage, it's just a gut feeling looking at Wednesday night, a night game, Champions League. I think playing in the Champions League means more to Hatate than a lot of players. Like, I think he really thinks that's where he should be playing, rightly or wrongly. And he's kind of had a tough time so far in the Champions League. I mean, last year he had that injury, didn't he? The year before he had moments. But I just think on Wednesday night is set up for Hatate to really control that game. I think that's the point we're all making. Like, there's not a bad call here, Brendan Rodgers.
And it's great to be having this debate because you've got quality there.
Yeah.
Spoken before about getting in with ill prepared for qualifiers, and then and even ill prepared for the actual tournament itself. How great is it that we're sitting here thinking that either Hatate or Bernardo is going to get rotated in any given
Engels as well.
Our Engels, yeah. So in any given day, they're automatic starters, aren't they? And we're having this conversation about, and I just feel Engels was brought in 11 million to play in these kind of games. Bernardo has not let you down and has started really well. Hatate, as I say. But again, for the pros that you have outlined, I don't have a problem with them starting tomorrow. This is not a Hatate version.
Yeah.
It's just a personal preference
for
tomorrow, right? And if Hatate starts tomorrow, I'll be delighted. And if he starts tomorrow and he does something like you guys saying, I'll be even more delighted. But that's the Hatate that has to come to the table tomorrow.
We've I was thinking about this yesterday. Our front five, if you like, front six, is the most exciting and the most potent collectively that we've had in a long, long time.
Yeah.
You've got those four midfield options that we're talking about. We Maeda is just turned into a diamond for us. He's long after he departs, he will be a cult hero, and he'll be more than a cult hero, right? He already is a cult hero, because sometimes cult heroes are those that the fans are willing to overlook their other weaknesses. He's just tremendous, and Kuhn is coming on to a brilliant game.
So excited about him.
You've got the two options of Ida and Kyogo. And I know Kyogo's missed a couple of 1-on-1s in the last few weeks, but good stuff. But the thing about Kyogo, when this has happened before, he never ever lets it affect his attitude. You never see him berating himself or with his head down. The wee guy, he could miss 3 absolute sitters, and he would still back himself to score the next one. He's just got this attitude. And Ida, he was unlucky not to open the scoring, but he gives us a great option as well. Honestly, it's the most potent, the most dynamic front six that we've had in a generation.
That's why you're excited.
Yeah, but that's why the team, those players are all good players. Some of them have done it at Champions League level. Some of them haven't. So we need to now see, can you step up to Champions League level? And that's what's so exciting about it.
We will find out, Hamish, in the fullness of time, won't we?
And not just Wednesday, but all 8 games.
And the ones that have done it, that's what I'm talking about. They need to put that knowledge and experience and use it in a game like tomorrow. Show you've learned, show you've developed, and shows that you're going to progress with this team, with this manager, and show the other guys, this is how you do it. Talk them through it. Be what they always say, be that good teammate. I've no qualms about Callum McGregor doing that and talking to others like Ingles through it. And, and if it's Hatate, then Hatate's more of your maverick, but bring the good maverick tendencies, not the bad ones. That's what I mean. And if it's Bernardo, then, a lot's made of Bernardo being able to chase and harry and do stuff. Bernardo's a footballer as well. He came from a brilliant academy, and I've mentioned it a couple of times, it's tended to be overlooked. But you look at the moments he's provided, they've all been football moments. Mm-hmm. The pass to Ida Ibrox, the run and the shot that led to the Scottish Cup winning goal.
The goal against Rangers.
Yeah, his goal against Rangers, the technique involved in that.
The pass in the last derby for Johnston.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? These are all big football moments, allied to that energy that he brings, and he can stop teams from attacking as well. So there is a real footballer lying within Bernardo, bursting to come out. And this is the kind of stage I think that the manager sees as his stage, which is why I think he might just get the nod over Hatate tomorrow. Not just, these aren't baseless things you're saying about Hatate being rotated from the squad. They're based on stuff that you're seeing and what you're thinking. Again, I could be completely wrong, but I've no qualms if Hatate starts. I stress that as well. But my midfield tomorrow would be Engels, Bernardo, and McGregor. It's just the way I see it panning out. People can disagree with that. That's the prerogative, as they say. But and that's what makes it the wonderful game that it is, because we don't get paid for making those kind of decisions, and there's a man that does get handsomely rewarded for making those decisions, and we'll see what that decision is tomorrow. And we all can't wait. It's just there's real anticipation, but I just think for the first time in a long time, Celtic will get into this with real expectancy as well, Hamish. And I actually like that. I love that, actually.
It's good, but as I said when the draw was made, I think the support are going to be loud tomorrow night. They're going to get behind the team. Also got a real duty to stick with the team, because I don't know if some people are maybe going into this match thinking it's going to be a routine victory. If there's a fair chance that this match is going to be in real doubt going into the last 20 minutes, it might still be goalless. We might go behind in the game. the support really need to stick with the team, as we do generally. But I just think it's a different. As you say, Tony, there's expectancy tomorrow night. I mean, there's always some sort of expectancy with Celtic, but in reality, in the Champions League in recent years, we've been kind of turning up and hoping rather than expecting. Nobody's hoping on Wednesday night. Everybody, let's be honest, is expecting Celtic to go out and perform and win this game. But it's going to be difficult, and the support need to stick with the team if things maybe are tricky. Paul, this is our biggest challenge so far, but if we play with pace and intensity and cut out the silliness and defensive solid and play from the start to finish, hopefully 2-0. Conselt talking about the Slovan defence being slow potentially. I think they do have a couple of older players in their back line, so it may be worth looking at the pace of Kyogo, Maeda and Kuhn. Conselt also saying Kuhn's going to be big. Francis is really nervous for the game. John saying that we need 12 points. John, I've done my research. Don't you worry about that. 10 points will definitely be good enough. That's based off 10 different seasons on Football Manager, guys, of the new format laid out. So, and 10 points never missed the cut over 10 seasons. I'm pretty sure that 10 points will be enough. 9, 8 might do it as well. And this one, Matthew saying, for me, this could be a breakthrough season in the Champions League. I think that's a really good point. Back from Ange's first season, he spoke about continual improvement in Europe, and I feel like we may start to see that come to fruition this year. We've got a lot of Champions League games under various players' belts, you know, Carter Vickers and Taylor and Haggerty and Kyogo and guys like that have played probably double-figure Champions League proper matches now. So hopefully things play out that way. Kevin, anything else today?
I was actually looking at ahead to the weekend because we've got Falkirk, not Falkirk. Yeah, we've got Falkirk in the League Cup. And initially, I was like, "Oh God, why are we putting a League Cup quarter-final fixture on a Saturday that should be occupied by an SPL game, especially after we had this rubbish 2-week break from the real stuff when we were playing. I can't even remember who Scotland were playing the other week. You know, I wasn't the slightest bit interested. And then I thought of it differently. Because I thought, this is going to be quite a grueling Champions League campaign, and take nothing away from Falkirk. We'll approach them professionally, but that could be a blessing. It actually could be a blessing for us that we're not going into a tricky away fixture at Pittodrie or Tannadice or Rugby Park. A few days after we've had the rigours of the Champions League.
Yeah, Sunday.
Thanks to that.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough game, Falkirk. They're one of the form teams in Scotland.
They're having a great season.
Yeah. Tony,
I just
anything else?
That in.
I was going to speak, but my dogs are going off their heads. So. Yeah, what's new? They say, bring on tomorrow. That's all I can say. I think the dogs are anticipating it as well.
Still got another video tomorrow, don't we, before the game? Brendan Rodgers will speak to the media today. There'll be a player as well. We'll hear from Slovan Bratislava contingent as well and hear what they're saying. So we'll have plenty to chat about tomorrow, but we'll be chatting more about the game, obviously, as well. Plenty more we can go into. For now, guys, thank you very much. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in, commenting, watching, etc. And we will chat to you tomorrow.